Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And tonight, y'all, I want to talk about how you can go from nothing to starting your own podcast. You see, I'm going to show you a quick demo of my podcast. I have it on my phone right now. I'm going to take it off the charger. I'm going to show you my setup currently. I'm going to brighten the screen so you guys can see it as well. This is currently my setup. I know you can't see it for the lighting, and I really can't turn the camera around it currently because of the way I have it positioned. But look at all that. That's currently my studio setup for my podcast and for the YouTube channel as well. Right now, I'm just using my studio lighting to record this video. But usually, if it's in the daytime, I'm using my, daytime neon lights. Using my, now I have, as you've seen in the background, I have a Hustle neon light sign. And I actually have one of these fancy, I don't know if you could see it really well. I'm going to try cutting the light off. Hold on, guys, so you can see it, to showcase it. As you can see, it glows, and it glows many different colors. So, with that being said, you can have, hold on. I have to get the lighting fixed on this thing. You can have all kind of settings for your podcast. And hold on quickly, guys. I just got to change the dead cat here because I'm using the dead cat for my Comica mic, and it's covering the lighting of the camera. I want the best exposure as possible. So I'm just going to use a standard wind muff on it currently. So give me just a sec, guys. Give me a sec. I'm not going to edit this out. I'm going to be a real one about it. So that way we get the best lighting, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so I want to talk about how you can go from nothing and starting your own podcast, right? You see, hold on, let me zip this up. You see, I started with nothing. Absolute $0. Not 5 cents, not $20, not $10. Not $3. I started with nothing. All I started with was an idea, a conceptualized idea. Okay, I really didn't have the whole broad view or the full, fleshed out plan of the podcast. I just had a conceptualized idea in my head one day. So back in July 2019, as you all know, July 27, 2019 is when I aired the very first podcast episode. And I was very shy. I spoke like this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Poetry Corner Podcast. This is your host, Matt Foster, for all those who didn't know. And I memorized that intro because I've done it for so many episodes for a couple years. But I was so timid, whereas if I would have just been confident, sat up straight, trusted in my own ability to succeed, I would be, confident at that moment when I aired the very first episode. I would be speaking to you like this and this type of tone because this is how I actually speak, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to move this camera back so you can see me. I'm going to move my mic back so it's not all in the shot. Hold on. I'm going to move the camera back so that way, move the mic back so it's not all in the shot right now. But anyway, long story short, this setup I have came from absolute nothing. From the curtains to the camera that I'm currently using to record, to the shotgun mic up top the camera, to the microphone, the tabletop microphone I'm using to also record, to the laptop, to the whole entire setup came from nothing. It just came from a conceptualized idea. I wrote them down. That's why it says in the Word of God, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he that sees it runs to it. Meaning you'll study it every day if you write these things down. And trust me, as a podcaster, there's going to be a lot you're going to have to write down. There's going to be a lot you're going to have to get memorized. There's going to be a lot, where you're going to have to just go over. You're going to have to recite, your intro. Definitely, the success of your episodes depends on your intro. You can't have an intro like I had, where I was very timid when I said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Poetry Corner Podcast. Because if I tune in Say I'm just some random listener, right? And I listen to that intro. I say to myself, I wonder what this cat gonna say. What he or she is gonna talk about. They don't seem very confident, but I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I take the time, listen to it, listen to the intro, and if I see that you talk with that tone throughout the entire episode, then or at least the majority of the episode, within the first 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm pressing the skip button. And you need to have that confidence, that energy, that vibe that's just going to grab your listeners' attention and hold their attention span, because we live in a day and age where people's attention span are as small as a mustard seed. And I don't mean anything offensive by it. It's just with the launch of so many social media apps, so many shopping apps, so many TV apps or media apps in general, like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, just like not Discovery. What I was about to say, woof. You know what I mean? And we have so many entertainment apps. We have so many entertainment apps, and we have so many social media apps. Our lives are just run off of apps in general. And please tell me there is not one human being who don't have apps on their phone today. I'll wait. Okay, cool. So we live in a society where everything has been streamlined to an app. So you have to get your listeners' attention away from another app. Yes, you might be using a platform such as like Acast or Spotify for podcasters, or Google Podcasts, or whatever your platform may be. But you have to get the listener's attention to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to listen to this guy's podcast or this woman's podcast, and I'm not going to click off and go to this other app, because what happens if you have someone who is so indulged, so enveloped into your podcast episodes, your topics, and what you're talking about on your show, then what's going to happen eventually is they're going to tune into every other episode after you started posting more frequently. Another thing, it depends on your hustle. That's why I actually have a neon sign that says hustle, because I'm a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster, I'm a husband, and I'm a father, and I'm a man of God. So I'm multifaceted in every aspect of my life. So I have to be more than one thing continuously. I have to be more than just one thing continuously in my life. And that's how it is when it comes to podcasting. You can't simply, how can I say this? You simply can't just say, all right, well, I'm going to talk about this one topic every episode consistently and say I'm going to garner an audience. Yes, you're going to garner a small audience, but eventually what your audience is going to do, if you can't talk about other things related to your main topic, then they're going to click off and they're going to be like, all right, there's another podcast that's talking about similar things, and they're also talking about interesting topics. They have interesting guests on the show. They have interesting, setup going. They doing video podcasts and all that. And that's another thing I want to start talking about, on this channel, is I want to, start doing podcast episodes on video format. I know I stumbled on that. Let me say it again. I want to start doing podcast episodes on the YouTube channel, and I want to start doing them in video format to give you guys a breakdown and a demonstration on how I currently do my my podcast episodes. You know what I mean? To help you guys out. I like being helpful. I like seeing people grow. I like seeing people successful. But back to the main topic here, I was just giving some ideas, and I kind of digressed all the way off the main path, and I ask that you guys forgive me. But anyway, so you're going to need confidence. That's rule number one. You got to have that ability to speak behind a mic, and you got to have it where you can grab the listener's attention and be like, hey, this is the one. This is the podcast I've been looking for. This is what, I'm really into. This guy right here, this woman right here. Yeah, this is it. I'm subscribing to their channel. And if they putting out any merch, I'm purchasing. That's what you want. That's the type of attention you want to garnish from your audience. Another thing is start small. You know what I mean? You don't have to have the best setup. You can get a mic like this. This is a JLab. Hold on, I purchased it earlier. A JLab studio microphone. Very basic. You can get it at your local Walmart, $45. And how it works is you have to plug in your Type C USB and plug your headphones into there and plug your USB into your computer. For some weird reason, it doesn't work unless you have a laptop, because if you try to power bank it into a regular socket, it won't work. So you have to have a laptop. I guess it senses when it's plugged into a laptop. I don't know. But anyway, it's a tabletop microphone, or you can use this bad boy right here. This is a Zoom 2 mic, and I can adjust the volume. I know that's kind of loud, and I can turn it down. And with that, it allows me to record with perfect audio, and or good audio quality. For example, because let's be real, your YouTube channel or your podcast can look like absolute everything, right? It can look like absolute everything, but it can be sheer and utter trash when it comes to the audio, and that's what's going to make a lot of people click off. So therefore, what you need to do is have amazing audio. I have my little screen right here. I have the microphone set up on the table. I have a shotgun mic on my HD camera. I have my laptop when I need to edit any type of audio out of my videos, so that way I can get the best crystal clear audio possible when I have to record. Another thing is, know your budget. This is key. This is very important. This is what I want to teach you guys. Know your budget. Know your spending limit, because you don't want to go overboard. I made the mistake when I first started working. I got all my podcast equipment up front. I got a lav mic for on the go, as you can see. I have a lav mic. I have a tabletop mic. I have a shotgun mic. I have an HD camera. I have a Canon EOS Rebel T100, and majority of the time when I first started, I was recording off my phone. You can even record from your phone. There is no excuse, ladies and gentlemen. You can record amazing sounding podcast episodes from your very phone. All you need is a lav mic and your phone, and you're good to go. You're absolute set. And hold on, I had to close my laptop. And one thing people always make the excuse of, what if my phone doesn't sound the best? That's what a lav mic is for. You like to be outdoors? Get yourself a lav mic, get yourself a tripod, get yourself a phone holder. Screw the phone holder into the tripod, because it has a little bolt at the top of the tripod, and you can screw it in, and there you go. You can start shooting content right then and there. And your lav mic is always going to sound like you're 6 inches away from it at all times, because it's omnidirectional. Yes, it does pick up sound from outside, so you might want to get a dead cat for your lav mic. A dead cat is that little fuzzy little wind muff. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry guys, I had a brain fart moment. A dead cat is a fuzzy wind muff that guards the microphone, so that all the background noise doesn't get into it, all the wind from outside doesn't get into it. If I was to have this setup going on outside, I would definitely have perfect audio. Even though it could be windy, you will hear very little of it. You will just hear me speaking how I'm speaking to you now, and that's how a dead cat works, or a fuzzy wind muff, how some people would like to call it. And make sure you have a few of those, because if you lose one, and you definitely like to record outside, and I'm going to start doing content like that, you got to make sure you got a backup. You don't want to be SOL for, stuff out of luck because you lose equipment. I literally have I'm gonna show you guys. It's gonna look like a bag of trash, but I promise you it's not. This is full of USBs, wind muffs, power banks, AC adapters, Type C chargers, micro USB chargers. I have everything I need on the go, and that's one thing you need to be ready. You know what I mean? If you do content outside, make sure you're ready uh, for the elements. You don't know if it's going to rain, so you definitely want to get plastic that's going to cover your camera. But you want your screen, if you have a fold out screen like I have on my HD camera, you want to make sure that your fold out is protected from the elements. But you want to make sure that your lens right here is exposed so that way it can get a good shot of you without, getting the camera wet. And if you're doing it in the snow, same thing. But if it's dry and arid outside, you definitely want to make sure you got water, whether you're indoors or outdoors, because you're going to be talking a lot on the podcast. So always make sure you have water. The one thing that's absolutely free that can really help you in your performance with speaking is water. So make sure you have plenty of that. No soda, no coffee. I mean, there's nothing wrong with coffee. I like to drink coffee in the mornings before I go to work. Or if before I start a podcast episode, I like to drink a little bit of coffee. But throughout it, I just drink mainly water. And you know what I mean? What I had was I repurposed a water bottle. I had a Body Armor Sport Water, with electrolytes and alkaline water in it. And I just kept putting water from my faucet in there. I just kept, having it on hand. That way I stay hydrated. If I'm going to be out and about with you guys, it's going to get warm this week. It's going to feel hot this week. So while I'm walking, you know what I mean? While I'm walking and talking, I don't want to pass out. So make sure you got your water on you. Stay hydrated. You know what I mean? Stay focused. But also, what you're going to need is studio lighting. Make sure you have a curtain like this, so that way your sound that you're recording is bouncing back from this back to your microphone, so it's recorded perfectly. Because if I would have lifted the curtain and all that sound is just bouncing back room to room to room, it's going to sound hollow. It's going to sound very empty. You know what I mean? It's going to sound like I'm echoing, like you would hear echo, 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 for every word that you speak, because the house is, could be possibly empty. Or the house has so many rooms that the sound reverberates off of every wall. And that's what creates that echo, that distant echo you hear in a lot of YouTube videos. And even the best YouTubers have that echo in their YouTube videos if their rooms are empty, if they just moved into said home. So that's, here nor there. But at the same time, make sure you got the best audio set up. Make sure you got your studio lighting. Make sure you got your camera. You don't have to really go out of pocket for a camera. Okay, let me break some news to you. This very camera that I'm recording from right now, ladies and gentlemen, is a $100 Amazon camera. And I call it my Amazon camera because it doesn't have any brand that it's tied to. It just says 4K Ultra HD Wi-Fi on the front, whatever. And I'm very surprised. Equipped with the studio lighting and its own lighting, it provides great content. You know what I mean? Besides the autofocus, because I keep moving around. This provides the very best content for such a cheap budgeted camera. So this is why I tell you, know your budget, know your spending limits, because you still have to eat, you still have to pay bills, you still got kids to feed if you got kids, if you got pets, you still got to feed your pets, you got to pay gas in your car, you got to make car payments. So get little by little. Start with a lav mic and start with your phone. Start with your lav mic and start with your phone, and don't feel so, how can I say this? Don't feel so set back that I don't have a laptop, I don't have all this fancy stuff that this YouTuber has, because that was one of my biggest problems. I've seen like a lot of video podcasters and YouTubers, and they had such lavish setups. I'm talking about the neon lights on the walls, they had the table, they had the chair, the gamer chair, they had the cameras, they had, talking points on their phone. And that's another thing you're going to need to write down your tips too. You need talking points to write down your tips, but we're going to get into that in just a bit. But I used to see these guys when they did their podcast, and I was like, man, I don't got none of that, man. Like, how, you know? And when I started my podcast back in July of 2019, all I had was a Samsung little retro designed metallic microphone, and I had a pair of Sony, all white Sony headphones. And I plugged that into the mic, and I was able to record because I plugged my mic into my laptop, and I was able to provide some really great quality audio, and I was well pleased with it for a minute. But as time went on, I'm about to say went on, I can't talk today. As time went on, I realized I needed more content. I needed more products and equipment to provide a better video. You know, because let's be real, unless you have an iPhone, they have all the best tech. This same quality I'm talking to you in, I can get that off of an iPhone. But with an Android, because I have a Moto G Play stylus, which is not the best camera, you know what I mean? A lot of people in the comment section are going to be like, yo, that camera is garbage. And it is. It's kind of garbage. So I just use it for calls and to look at videos on YouTube and everything like that. And research podcasts, you know, how to make podcast episodes better. And that way I provide better tips for you guys, and I can help study for myself to become a better podcaster and YouTuber. So in this video, ladies and gentlemen, I was just giving out a few tips, you know what I mean? And that's another thing I'm gonna speak on before I close out this video. Make sure you write things down. I mentioned it early in the video. A lot of people make the mistake of not writing stuff down. See, this video has not been scripted. A lot of my videos are scripted now. Whereas before, I would just go off the rip and I'd just start talking. But I didn't like how I would ramble on when I started talking, because it sounded like a lot of nonsense. Because I was like, and, so, yeah, like, you know what I mean? You catch those small words. Words we didn't catch in school growing up, we catch as adults. And it can definitely impact the power of our conversation or our talking points. So make sure you write things down, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you write down studying tips before starting your podcast. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. I hope you learned something new. And hey, I'm here to help you. If you want to know more about starting a podcast, you know what I mean? Just feel free to tune in to the next episode. I will be talking about how to see, this is why it's important to write stuff down. I'll be talking about why it's important to have topics that's related to your podcast. And I'm going to show you guys how to write those down, how to study them, and how to just squeeze all that information into one 15 to 20 minute video or a podcast episode. If you want to do a podcast video, hey, major props to you. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of courage to do something like that. And I'm definitely rooting for you guys. I'm cheering for you guys. I got your back. You know, I'm supporting you guys all the way. But anyway, I love you guys. If you enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button, smash that like button, comment in the comment section below what you enjoyed about this video. And hey, feel free to subscribe if you want to. You know what I mean? But anyway, I love you guys. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.